Hello everyone and welcome back. Today I am bringing you more Golgari, my favorite deck to play. As you all may know, if you've been subscribed to the channel or you've been watching me for long, you definitely know this is my favorite deck to play. But I'll separate a little bit of things here, little things that we added to the list real quick, in terms of we added the kind of mono black strategy of the Deep Cavern Bat along with the Gix. Don't know what it is. The Cavern Bat takes a card in terms of removal. You play the Gix, have the bat hit. The bat has lifelink, so it kind of negates the damage part of the Gix, and then you draw cards and get advantage that way. Outside of that, it's a lot of kind of the normal stuff that we've been playing, moving cards around, playing a little bit of the Preacher, playing Sentinel, Lost Lore as well still, along with playing our really valuable 3-drops that we normally find in Golgari. But we're just going to do that. We're going to hop into the game, see how they go, and I hope you all enjoy. And if you do, please be sure to subscribe. Maybe leave me some messages on what you prefer in the deck or what you don't like or what things you've found. Outside of that, let's just hop into the game, see how they go. First, even? I mean, we have all the removal just to play against blue-white control here. Thoughts? Thoughts? Any thoughts? I mean, they got this. They got to be some aggro. It hurts me every time. Land, go. Maybe we'll get lucky. Okay. Forest control. Do we remove this now and just be mana efficient? I guess the answer is yes. And if it's a invoke deck, we want to use this. Whenever a creature you control has ability, it triggers an additional time. Play Cottage. I think cycling here will be fine. Ew, maybe cycle first and see if we get a cut down, I guess. But we'll be held up and ready to go. I guess maybe we should have held this in case they play any walkers like Baby Chandra. We see 3 basics. I like that Plains a lot. Yeah, that is a threat, that's for sure. Remove it. Mosswood. Here we are, kind of down on cards. They have 6. We have 4. They did miss a land, so it's kind of going to be one of the reasons. Alright. We won't have the mana to activate this, so we can actually remove it out of the way as well. And, is this the Cauldron deck that wants to like fire that off? I think the answer is yes. We're gonna remove it. Then we're gonna have Graveyard Trespasser exile it, not allowing it to get this ability, and then we'll attack. We've been tempoing so far. They haven't hit a land or a second red source, which might be important. They finally find it, and man, oh man, are they gonna be mad. Just finding the removal left and right for everything they have. We're doing pretty much everything we'd ever want to do as the Golgari deck. And then even here, let's just commit more to the board, because for whatever reason, this making a creature is a possibility. I guess we get blown out by burn down the house, but I can't imagine they play it. When this creature dies, put counters on target creature you control. Okay. Sure. So they put it on there. They sack this. They shoot something. And then they can move the counters onto the Thrill Seeker. And then next turn shoot something. The only real issue is, like, what do you even hit here because of the pressure that's coming back your way? And if they pass their turn, the ability goes away on the Bond Warden. Which... Yep. Could just bring up this land and attack. Start exiling kind of everything in their graveyard. They can only sack and ping one thing. You can make them do it immediately. Or we can just put a lot of pressure on. Just shrink this right now. Kind of force them to block it anyway. Because now it'll be smaller. The counters won't go away. They'll still have the counters, whether they know that or not. We're going to plus here, though. We have to plus first, because if we put the counters there... Well, I guess if you plus, it automatically gets the counters. It doesn't matter. I'm trying to go to combat game. You just won't let me. Do here. We'll see what happens. They throw a block. Because the counters will still move. This doesn't take them away. But them being forced to block anyway will make them see that that's how that'll happen. If they didn't know that already. They might have. Give them credit where credit's due. They might have known. No, they got a lot of problems. We have lethal on every creature in play. If they don't cast a spell, Graveyard Trespasser will flip. Voldarian Thrill Seeker is probably not chewing through 22 life of damage. And anything at 5 mana, I can't imagine can do it either. And then any land draw, we bring up the Virtue. And then any creature that we've lost along the way, we can bring back. Or if they have a creature that we prefer to take. Oh. I mean, that's a massive creature. It'll be a double block and a double shot here, I think. We care about this. No. Do not. They want us to block so they can sack and then shoot something else. So, I mean, with them being at 2, essentially 1... There's no reason for us to give them a free creature on block. Especially considering they had to tap this to attack. No block for us. We'll just end up bringing up his fortress. We'll lose that creature, sure. And that game is just over. So that's an epitome of drawing incredibly hot. We had removal for every monstrous creature that they were playing. So... this is what it is. We go first. This is a solid hand, I think. We have removal, we have Dread Knight, things like that, so. Lead off with the land. So, hold on. I'm not gonna say it out loud. Okay. Looks like Dinos. I was gonna say, I think it's funny. Well, I'm actually wanting to hold up cut down, I think. Now I need to validate this play, though. Maybe that's not true. But I would really like to have cut down their 2-drop that they play here. The Mana Dork they play. Naya? Okay. No. The Preacher. Thank you. You got it for pain lands, I guess, huh? Pain lands would, if it were normal lands, no pain would have happened. It wouldn't have stopped me, and Glissa would be in play, which I don't think Glissa is necessarily the worst. But we have ways to kind of cheat with the Preacher. So I get to do it here, unless they remove it. No basic for ossification or something like that. It would have to just be like a normal exile. Yeah. So it's definitely the humans. So let us do black here to cause some pain. Just out of the way. And then if you don't know the trick, we don't have anything to hold up, which will draw a card, but we want to make as many board presence as possible. We just do that for mana and make our life total equal to theirs, so we get both abilities. So now we get to go a little bit wider, plus like also draw a card. It might matter. I think this is 5-color humans with Joda. I think that credits that. Enters battlefield and exile any number of other target creatures. Don't really have a way. Just remove this, huh? Play Joda. They would have to then cascade after. Gives us a turn. So realistically, we should play Gix here. Yeah, I think we play Gix. Then I attack with Dread Knight. Realistically, they're not going to want to block anyway. Definitely going to take this action. Fine, go for the throat. So I'll pass here, see if they tap out for Joda. Because obviously we'd like to get our Preacher back. But, you know, other things pretty good too. We just remove this. Remove this and get our Preacher back. Preacher will draw us cards. What are the odds that we have lethal? And that has first strike and it can deal with that, but it can't take kind of care of all of this. Let's get this and get our creature back, I think. Then we play Shieldred here. And it's an all-out attack. We draw. We lose one. We gain two. Now we'll just like flood our hand with cards. We should have paid maybe a little bit more attention to how our mana tapped and at least leave up one black mana. Like, take one damage. Just leave up the Land War Waste if we want to use it, just in case we do find like a cut down maybe, because it can remove this. Especially on the attack trigger draw with this. A little mistake, but kind of an overwhelming game anyway. So first, we have 3 draws. Sure. Low mono red. Mono red every time. For the top. Gotten a Mythic just to play against more mono red. No. I'm not gonna lie to you. I thought Gix was 3 black mana. Oh, that's tough. That is tough. Trying to think here. Oh, it'll get exiled. No, we pass, I guess. I was trying to think whether I wanted to play this and hopefully get to block the Feldon. This will get exiled, and then we play the Trespasser, eating the Feldon in the graveyard. They get a lot of value there. Second Kimono coming down, sure. We have to be careful with Monstrous Rage, even though a lot of the hesitation kind of seems like it's on us. We'll try. This Rage does blow this out. Nothing there. Nothing to it. We can do something else kind of cool because they don't have a creature in there yet. You could play Gix, but that can get hit with a lightning strike. You could argue we play Trespasser now. We don't have a creature in there ourselves. We get to play the Preacher, and that's what's so nice about Preacher in this spot specifically, is it can't be lightning strike to get out of the way. It's 2 damage instead of like the 3 required to move this Feldon out of the road. So like here, like if we played the Gix, it's getting hit with the lightning strike, opening the pathway for a lot of what they're trying to do here. But this having 4 toughness on it actually kind of helps absorb all of what's going on. I mean, more than anything, we're definitely blocking this Feldon. Then we're gonna have to play Graveyard Trespasser, hope it's enough. Block. Yep. That's 2 less damage to our face. We're fine with it. They didn't wait to see if they got to play with fire here, which they do now. Which is annoying, presumably, but it is what it is. We play this. We play Trespasser. And then we will take out... They have 3 lands, so we don't have to worry about the other card right now. We'll take out the Feldon. You know, there's not a whole lot we can do to prevent that with as many spells as in there. Bloodthirsty Adversary is what I'm speaking of. Definitely a block from us. Monstrous Rage doesn't grow us out of range. We still live. Then we'll get hit with Play with Fire. And then it's probably Shieldred and... Oh, they don't. Shieldred Prey. I don't know what they would be holding. Lightning Strike. I think you just play with Fire me and go into this turn. Why? Why did you do that? You had lethal lined up. All right, we go first. We have Womp to lead off one. So we can take a little less damage here. We can cycle even. Blazing Dave, if you're not red or like ruled dinos, aggro-y style deck, I will be a little upset. There you are. Making me proud. Alright, well, I think it's going to be a card game. So I'm going to cycle this Dread Knight. Geeks Command actually not that bad here. It can target some of the bigger creatures and take out a lot of the dorks early. Little dukes. Here's the old belligerent. Yeah. I thought I was just being crazy. Nope. That's his name. We'll Graveyard Trespass. We'll take out the creature. Graveyard Trespasser might also trade. But I'm not necessarily sure or sold that it needs to. Right. We'll have to discard a card. This is my favorite part about Graveyard Trespasser. Tolly? I mean, that makes sense. You're... Do we have to play around the card? What's the card, chat? What is it? We all know what it is. I mean, it's not going to do anything here. We can Terrace under it. It might make this have 4 power, but that's about it. Fight rigging. There we go. Land draw for turn. You have a 4-drop. That's nice. We block. I would assume the legendary creature's coming down now to fight or shoot this for 2. Or maybe they have another chomp. They do. Sure. Do we cycle to hit a land or do we just play second Shieldred? And we just play second Shieldred because the possibility of holding up Dread Knight and then a Terrace under is still viable. Especially if they play the 3-mana 6/6 and then try to play Fight Rigging. Or Keeper, not necessarily that great. Here. Although, for us, I would love for it to not be in play. So we're definitely attacking. They're a land drop away from finding something good. Which does kind of suck. I guess I can always Terrace under something big. But they can always kind of connect it into something. But then we'll have Gix Command. I mean, I guess at this point we just hold for Gix Command. We have no creature land that we have to be worried of. And if they do draw one, it comes in tapped. Down to 8. There's Bone Horde. And just like that, we will find the nice remove. Actually, do we just Gix? We Gix Command. We can Gix Command and still get lethal here. Yes. Because what we'll do is this will hit. We'll put 2/1/1 counters, and then we'll make them sack with the highest power. Put it on here. That's gone. We'll hit for 6, and then they'll draw for their turn and lose. Which, in theory, we can still do the same thing, but if by some crazy thing they have a thing that gains life, then that play gets kind of blown out, so we can hold on to the Terrace under and not use it. We go first. Seems reasonable. We'll keep... Womp. Play the bat for a reason. Play basic force. Play bat. What do you got in there? Pain. Yeah. Sure. Yep. It was uncounterable. I mean, we take the only 2-drop. They're kind of loaded on 3-drops. What do we play here? I guess it doesn't really matter, right? Are there any of these enchantments? No. So that's going to be the main problem. I guess I play this because I want to guarantee draw cards every turn. Where Preacher's kind of weird. But this is also really nice because it can take counters off of this in case it gets too out of control. Of course, let us just go to combat here. Hopefully we can find just a removal spell. Don't. A little bit of the flooding, as you can see. Do this. We could play this where significantly higher life. What's the worst case? They play Helena here. Whenever you cast one green with training. I mean, I think it's worth taking this out. It might not be to some, but to me, I think it makes all the difference sometimes. And with Glissa kind of drawing cards and our deck being very heavy on removal, I think it's fine to do so. Although, just the more I think about it, the less I feel comfortable about it, really. Now I feel fantastic about it. I lied. Everything's great. Of course, we kind of vibe check them with the Glissa first. If they feel like they need to block it, great. If they feel like they don't want to block it, fantastic. Let's do this. Now, Helena's a problem, right? But the other creatures are kind of more of a problem, I think. But they also have to play it. So, because the worst thing I want them to do is be able to hold that up and then maybe have a Plaza play maybe a 1-drop or something, or then play something in attack and maybe have like a 1-mana protection spell. There's a lot of different things we can kind of get rid of by just playing out our creatures. We don't necessarily have to worry about in a fine draw here. So can you spot the mistake? Let's look here. This is a learning moment. Can we spot the mistake here? Obviously, we have the answer, but if you're our opponent, you have to play around it. This is kind of a good learning curve because you can't really do chess puzzles in Magic. However, they accidentally use their Plaza of Heroes. And why is that important? Well, Plaza of Heroes can make a color of any legendary permanent you control. The Animar is red and white, so this can now tap for a red or white mana. This can only be used to cast creature spells, and this is red and green. And Ganjo is now reduced by 1 because there is a legendary in play. So this is only 2 mana, and I think that's why you saw them like pick them up very quickly, because they don't know we have the answer, but we do. So it doesn't really matter, but this is just learning. So really what they wanted to do is use a second cavern on even the Gorge. Use this for a red, and then this for a white, or this for a white, and then keeping up the Plaza of Heroes that at the time was doing nothing. That's why Arena taps it, because you won't be able to hold a protection. It tapped for only colorless. Like, to the Arena, this is the dumbest land, but as a player, you have to recognize that this is actually the land you want up, because then they could channel an Nganjo and hit something for that 4 damage if they still had this legendary in play, which they won't. So, small little like tidbit there. Maybe help somebody at some point. See why our opponent might have scooped them up there, or been confused because they're like, oh, they have Nganjo. Like, what are they doing? It's tough. It's tough. Ugh. I mean, our chance to draw a land is like high, but like, just keep it for the memes. No. Yeah. I mean, this is a lot more reasonable. Although that hand, of course, any hand where you have 1 land is nuts theoretically, because it's all spells. But like, having all those different spells in our Golgari deck, which is like a mosh pit of different, like 2 ofs and 3 ofs, is just very nice. We didn't have a whole lot of duplicates in the hand. In this case, go for the throw. It's not worth anything here. We're going to keep the 2 Dread Knights. Start off with the Glade. Oh! So here's the problem, right? Do we remove the door because we're on less cards, or do we leave this and then remove the big creature? I think we remove the big creature now. Yeah, I'm going to cycle and draw a card. Liliana's pretty good too. So maybe we can kind of stagger in a play that makes a lot of sense here. Yep, there's the big creature. Now, do we... I think we wait and we try to bait them into actually putting a fight rigging on the stack. On one time. Don't play the 4-drop. Don't play the 4-drop. Don't play the 4-drop. Please, 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 please. Let's go, team. You can wait till fight rigging targets on this. Yep. It won't matter. It's like being risky for like no reason, to be honest with you. Dangerous. Although they might put something under there considering that they might hit. Let's get this out of here. And then we'll play a Liliana and we'll sack getting this out of the way. The only thing I will possibly play over this Lily would have been a Glissa. The reason why is because Glissa can then blow up the fight rigging. But, alright. Hope they don't have a big creature. You don't have it, right, opponent?
One of your friends has to leave.
Please don't have a 3-drop 6/6. You could. That'd be really cool for you. It would not be very great for me. Don't do it. Oh, that it? Yeah, more mana, guys. That card's pretty solid. I like this card. This is good here. Like, we get a land, we get to flip it, make 2 3/3s, and then progress the game this way. Also go find a dino. Ooh, leaving that available to a cut down is probably not ideal. The only problem is I don't know if I can necessarily do anything about it. Drawing more lands. Drawing more lands is not ideal.
We all have things.
Play Preacher. Preacher can block pretty solidly here. But I think we're going to see land pitch this. This white is revealing because I think that means they have Gish Shaft in the deck. Fair enough.
Delay, nothing more.
Almost like kind of attacking, shooting this a little more. But I probably could have held it back, but you know, it's fine. We get to stop the big play here. Maybe. What mana do you have? What do you have? Own it. Give me a lot. Get me out of this. I would like to get this. Even if I didn't attack, it still happens. Realistically, we needed them to block. This is our only Nissa. It's our only play. Yep, they have to do this. I mean, we allow it to happen, of course. Not a whole lot we can do to stop it. Restless Cottage is not that good. It is not that good. Attacks. Let's play Shieldred. We need a dud in hand. They got rid of a Natali way earlier in the game. Did they find another? Or even this guy. Get shot. Worst part is it doesn't even really attack that well. I will block it up. But I think that's fine for them. I think that's what they would want. I might even do something crazy here. Nah, we can't. We gotta double block this. Yeah, they get rid of Shieldred. Of course, that just makes sense. That last card in hand is probably something. Okay. I mean, if they had another Gish Shaft in hand, I don't know what kind of made them tank so long on that. And we wait. We put them in top deck mode, although this will probably be flipped. I'll find another barrage. Don't you dare. It's not good for me either. I need removal. They can exile the 3/3 right now, the 6/6 right now, and play it. No! I'm getting outgrinded by rhinos. This isn't fair. I hate it here. More dread. Why is it all the dread knights, dude? I don't know what to do. This. So much pain. What else you got in here? Make 2 mana. You find 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I mean, I guess we see if they see it, you know. You don't know what I'm referring to without me just like digging into their deck and finding it. They can use the 2 mana to exile the Carnage, this guy, the Carnosaur, and then they'll have exactly enough mana. There they go. Now, whether me highlighting it showed them that, I doubt it, but so unfair. And that's why you play this card. You don't mess around. This attack is very fortunate for us, actually. We will definitely be double blocking. Back. So smart and handsome. Play a shield grid, I suppose. None of this has reach. Bonk 'em. All these dinos, none of them have reach. Yep. Alright, opponent, go. What else you got for me? This is what's pausing everything. Although, realistically, if they would take 1 turn to kind of flip this and figure it out, I think it'd be good. Also, if they would have kept the planes from earlier, it would have also been good, which is kind of funny. I don't want to blow up anything because I don't want them to get a planes. Ah, that finally flips. How bad is Gig's command here? Pretty awful. Yeah. Realistically, I don't have a chance. It kind of relies on our opponent to make a mistake. They exile cards from my graveyard now. Or I find a Virtue. Virtue would be pretty sweet. Which would kind of force them to attack, I think. Carnosaur has finality. That has finality. Everything has finality. Just not to play. I mean, I'm gonna threaten something, I guess. They allow it to happen. Now I have to kind of survive a turn. Maybe Shielder can kind of get there. It would be a little absurd if they allow this to happen. But they also have to be careful because the problem is you don't have trample. Play another good shaft, dude. Come on. You don't want to. I mean, you just could. That also will do it. They could still probably play Gift Shaft. What did you hit of mine? Graveyard Trespasser? That's pretty good. You hit that? That's also pretty good. All this is good. I'm not having a good time anymore. Is there a way I can get them to lose extra life here? Not really. It'd be really cool if I had a lot of forests in play and I drew a Nissa. That's not possible. And I only play like 3 forests. So it wouldn't really do anything anyway. It's possible. For a lot of dinos, those are really small. Can you even do the math? I can't do the math. They also keep all these abilities, by the way. This doesn't have a finality counter on it, but that sure does. What do they have untapped here? One is how much? 713. I'll go up to 3. I think I have to let this happen though, and give myself chances to. Did they mess up? I think they messed up. Six 12. That's 13. How many blockers do you have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2 plus shielded trigger. Maybe? My mathin', dude, them being so small is like upsetting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I think I'm good, and I think I won, which is really funny. Unless they have instant speed removal or something, I don't know. Which they don't normally play, because they have to kill the shield ring. But I think they messed up. All the times to attack, I think they attack slightly too. Oh, they can't even block this if they wanted to, I guess. We're gonna let them figure it out. I don't know. Maps for blockers. Case in point. That one. Sure. They just messed up blocks. They missed a block. And here I was just going to concede because I thought I had 0 chance. Dude, never surrender. Keep. Huh. Control, man. I still want to play all day. You know what I'm saying? Double scry at the top and they don't even know what we're playing, which is kind of absurd. Keep it a mystery. I don't know if I can beat this deck. Help. I'm gonna look. Give me a gander. I don't even know what this does. This gets a thing, but like this is more mana efficient, so I'm gonna take it. Activate the mana only cast artifact spells. That's actually a cool rock. Hello? Is this the card that was broken, by the way? Am I wrong about that? I feel like that was the broken card. The one that when the set dropped, it got like banned and people were getting them in drafts and not having a good time. Well, this is a bit weird. I've got nothing going on. However, my opponent also has nothing going on. Only problem is if they play Paragon, they can sack this and then bring it back, which is not like that great for me. But what if I hit you? Right, I'll give you a little bonk. Ah, that's such a good card. I like that card a lot. Do I draw here, or do I just edict? Nah, I bat. I'm batting. If I draw a land here that's like just primarily a black source here, and I get to play this Gix with 2 bats in, just completely negating this like damage that'll do to me. Really draw. They play. This is 3 mana. Play another one. Cut down. This is a cycle draw. Land. Not exactly it, but it's what I'll take. The only real problem is like Sunfall's a big problem for me. Will they play it? They probably do. I mean, it's mono white board wipes pretty much, right? If they don't bring anything back, we could also argue to play Sentinel of the Lost Lore and exile their graveyard. It looks like they're bringing back the Candy Trail, and however this works. Exile one or more artifacts you control with total mana value X. Return target artifact with mana value X from your graveyard to the battlefield. Activate only as a sorcery. So they're kind of deciding whether they want to exile one of these, I would imagine, to bring back one of these and then get the scry and stuff. I think it makes total sense to do so. What are we going to do? Yep. So we kind of call the play here. If it's a double scry to the top, that has to mean something kind of valuable is there. I think I'm going to take my advantage with my Gix command. Okay, that's the third one of those. That could... You just scried and then you shuffled it away? We realized we did this, right? If I get punished here, I'm going to be so upset. So, if you didn't recognize what happened, they kept a card on top. Kept a card on top with the Candy Trail and then played a Clay Fire Brick after and then shuffled it away. My webcam is not in the best spot for this matchup. Do I have another... Will that break it? We're gonna try. I think good. Okay. Sorry for the webcam. We're gonna move it. I'll point out things in my graveyard that are more important. As you can see, what they got kind of going on up here is they got stuff happening. They're drawing. They're all the way up to 30. You stop. Kind of just want a Sentinel and just exile their graveyard so they can't keep doing this. But to me, I'm also just on the like, I'm going to hit them plan. They'll have something eventually. Sure. I mean, I get it. Stop me from drawing cards makes a lot of sense. I like have no idea what to do here. So I don't want to overcommit to the board. That's the problem about playing against white. Like, you never want to quite necessarily overcommit. But I will play this. It doesn't matter. Just exile this, get rid of those so they can't keep doing this like cycle plan here. I'm a little surprised not to see them. I feel like there's no way I should win that match. Dude, my webcam wasn't in the corner. I freaked out. There's no way I feel like I should have won that match. But they were just dirtling. And I mean, they were like a land drop away from blowing up something important. And my two bats were just hitting them. They were at 40 life, so it didn't matter. We'll go first. This hand's like really, really solid, so we'll keep it here. I play the Glade. Like, in a world, you can argue play Swamp, pretend to hold up, cut down, but I don't think anybody really plays around it if they're playing an aggro deck on turn one. I could be wrong, but like, they're going to play a Skrelv or something. They're going to play a Skrelv regardless if I have cut down or not. So I think getting this down makes more sense. Gives me kind of diversity in my mana early. Even though I guess it doesn't really matter if we have a Swamp and a Forest in hand. It just helps. I don't know. Probably doesn't make any difference at all. Mathematician can tell me. Mathematician. Only card I can't cast. Now it'd obviously just be a land, but just mono black. Well, we have this covered either way they go about it, so doesn't really matter. Honestly, kind of prefer that route. I would much rather use all my mana now to play this Liliana instead of spending 2 mana to go for throw at that to get my Liliana back to play next turn. Although we would have probably cut down and then use go for the throw here. Hopeless Nightmare coming in for this. We'll only get rid of our basic forest. Don't really have to do anything else here. Let's play Mosswood Dread Knight here. I would like to play my land. I would like to plus here. I would like to discard this cut down maybe. Cut down doesn't always answer everything. It doesn't answer that, that's for sure. I want this pay 4. Oh boy. Are we reanimating that? I feel like it's got to be what that is, right? I mean, know what that's about. Cut down's pretty sweet. Let's play Gix. Move to combat attack here. Of course, we're taking that action. We find another land. I'm actually gonna plus here and let that go and hold up the cut down. I know it's not like super great. It could put a stop on their upkeep eventually to sack this Nightmare. Fight rigging. Okay, now we know how they're getting that in. So cut down has obviously got no value. 1 card in hand. Tear Sunder is fantastic. That's got value. I just don't know if they'll be able to beat this Gix command. Or not Gix, but Gix in this. I just don't think they could beat this. Like realistically. Yeah, I'll keep taking damage here. This plus here. Get rid of this. Take out this again. Again, if they really wanted a chance in this game, they should have put a stop on their upkeep for this Hopeless Nightmare. But the only problem is, I guess they need to kind of do it on my instep because, again, Liliana's just going to take the card from them. So, we grinded out that game. The Golgari fight rigging deck. I never found Golgari to be the best place for it. That's why I never really played it before. Every time I tried it, I'm just like, why am I not just playing Golgari instead? Like this like mid-range pile instead. But for there, I get it. But I think if you're wanting to play fight rigging, you should probably just play dinos. All right, after recording forever, we're going to talk about the deck. Whenever I play Golgari, it's no surprise if you look at my channel that it does the best. So I definitely want for people who actually watch it and are here for Golgari to actually get kind of a longer video because it is kind of the one that does the best. So people that enjoy the content or want to see how it works can get like more of a view on it. We've won some games today. I don't think we're necessarily supposed to, but that is kind of the thing you have to rely on sometimes. Is you're not always going to win because you specifically outplayed them, which I guess your opponent making a mistake, or like your cards aren't always going to win because your cards are better than their cards, or the way you draw is like significantly worse. Sometimes you're going to win because your opponent might slightly overestimate their position or underestimate their position and like kind of slow down or speed up at the wrong time, and you can kind of get there. And I think things in this deck that are really nice, that I really enjoyed, have actually stepped up and have been a big contributor to that. And one of the main issues that we had was keeping up with card advantage a lot of times. I never felt like we had more cards in our hand than our opponent. but we were really going that 1-for-1 route and kind of that grindy route, and it was very difficult to kind of keep up. However, we added the kind of mono black combo that people, it's not a combo, but like the tempo play that a lot of mono black decks are playing. And we kind of wanted to bring in here to test out and see how it is playing this Deep Cavern Bat. It's kind of like a kite sail freebooter for anybody that plays modern back in the, I mean, you probably don't know what that is. Back when humans was popular. It comes in, it takes a card until it leaves, but a lot of times it's just taking that removal spell and hoping it sticks around, and then you play a Gix command next turn. This has flying, it has lifelink, so it hits your opponent, you gain a life, and then you get to draw more cards with this Gix. And that's kind of the 1-2 punch that these two cards can provide. However, Gix is also nice to play after you play a Dread Knight, because Dread Knight has trample, and you might not draw with it, but you can start applying pressure to maybe like blue-white decks by playing this, and then hopefully getting your Gix to stick through. Other than that, things in the deck that matter, obviously we have our spot up removal here. We went a little down on Terra Sunder. Enchantments hasn't been quite as popular as it used to be. Same with Domain. A lot of the decks are getting under. Blue-white control is really tough on the enchantment decks in terms of enchantments folds really fast if you just play Sunfall, and the new Get Lost card just blows up everything that they would ever want to do ever. So they never get to kind of progress. So enchantments kind of gone, so it's gone down a little bit. The hard part on this card is probably the Simic deck is where you would want this. The Simic artifact deck is definitely where you kind of want to piece this card into your deck list and maybe play more, play less, kind of depending how your meta is going. But then we have the 3 of Go for the Throats, which is always nice. And then we have 2 cut downs and then a Shieldred's Edict to kind of get a Jace if they plus it or something like that. But moving on, we're playing the best card probably in Golgari in terms of Mosswood Dread Knight. The amount of value that this can get you, a reoccurring threat if they don't exile it, and it's just constantly a 3-2 trampler. It can get us up on cards. It can attack if needed. It can help trigger anything that we got going on. It combos kind of really well with Liliana as a value play because Liliana is making you discard. Well, you can cycle with this, find out more information. This goes in the Adventure Zone. Or you can get in that spot where it's like, I plus Liliana, I make you discard. These died last turn. If you have like 1 or 2, and then you cycle both of these, put 2 cards in your hand, put these back in the Adventure Zone, and then maybe play them. Outside of that, we move on to the Graveyard Trespasser. Probably my favorite card to play. This is a mono black card, but it's probably one of my favorite cards to play in Golgari just because of the difficulty to remove it. It takes a card from your opponent plus the card removing it, so it's a 2-for-1 pretty much guaranteed most times, unless you're forced to block or attack. But that's the kind of back end part I like about it, is that if I have to block a card, I can kind of rely on this to be at minimum 2-for-1 in that case, unless of course they void rend it or use something that's uncounterable. But it can either take 2 cards from their hand, or it can block the threat and play and go 1-for-1. But obviously, I personally enjoy when it 2-for-1 to my opponent, because that helps us create the micro advantage that we need for this deck to win. Preacher is a great addition. We can kind of do some manipulation with life totals with the Land War Waste to activate both modes on this sometimes. Sometimes it's just not possible, or you shouldn't do it. Like against red, maybe just make the 1-1 with lifelink. Or, do whatever you got to do. But, moving on from that, we have Sentinel of Luxor, a little lost value now. This card is always, to me, kind of good to have in the chamber because I love buying back the Virtue or buying the Mosswood Dread Knight or getting it out from an exile card. But realistically, against like the new Azorius midrange deck, it's nice to put the Virtue of Loyalty back on the bottom of their library. It's a 3-4, so it's got a really good block on it. You can exile a Graveyard for any Descend strategy, Reanimator strategy, things like that. So I definitely like Sentinel of Luxor. As Tidebinder gets a little bit more valuable, this could potentially be worse, as it's a little tough. But other than that, we also play Glissa. Glissa is an absolute monster of a card of its own. It is probably one of the best plays to play against dinos. Because, of course, if a dino has trample, it does not matter because it says First Strike. It's come to my attention that some people actually don't understand First Strike. Maybe Double Strike, I guess, is a little bit more confusing. But when it comes to trample specifically, the First Strike damage will happen before the creature without First Strike or Double Strike ever gets to actually attack. Therefore, this first strike into Death Touch will apply to the creature right away. Therefore, that creature was trample, even though it technically trample over this, say, for 5. Say it's a 8 mana creature. 5 would trample, 5, 6, 7, 8, yeah. 5 would trample over. It doesn't happen at all because this will first strike it first. So it'll hit first in combat, and a Death Touch will apply. The creature will no longer be there to hit Glissa and then trample over. So if you're a little unsure maybe how that works, it does say on the side, kind of. But then we play Shieldred, the best card probably in the meta at all. We play a 1 of Nissa and a 1 of Gix Command along with 2 Virtues. Realistically, right now where I would be is I think maybe this is just kind of falling out, and I think Virtue might be too cute right now. I say that in Mythic because I've ran into significantly less mono red currently. I think a lot of people you'll see playing the best decks in like that top end of Diamond just to get into Mythic, and because you can't fall out on Arena, then they'll just play whatever they want. They'll actually try to play the game. I think a lot of, not in terms of like player skill wise, but I think a lot of bronze to gold and like the lower plat tier, because of how the rank works, you'll find a lot of the same decks in that area as you will kind of in Mythic early. Maybe not in the top like people that are ranked because they're obviously grinding for ranked. But the people that kind of have the percentage tag on their name, you'll see them bring out Spicy List or something they want to play because they hit Mythic. That's all they really cared about. And they're done for the season. We're pretty close to the end. So most people are like, I hit Mythic, I'm happy. I'm going to play whatever. So sometimes we will get sporadically weird decks. So it's a little bit hard to kind of have this Virtue on backup, even though it is really good. But I think this might have to end up more or less too cute with the Sentinel. Buying it back and doing that. I don't know if playing this is better than doing like this. Or dropping these. And just keeping this in. But I personally like consistency and having kind of the same cards. So like maybe even doing like this and this. But Liliana is not necessarily the best, so maybe you're arguing to do that. You never really know what you got to do, and it's kind of day by day. That's what makes Golgari so hard to play in general. But outside of that, I think that's it for me. I hope you all enjoyed. I definitely enjoy playing the deck, as I've said in the past. It's my favorite deck to play overall because I like the mid-range value game that it can provide. Genuinely, some games makes you feel good about winning because you're knowing, like, you know how to min-max a lot of your cards, so it definitely feels good to win with this deck, if it's not just a blowout, obviously. But other than that, I hope you all enjoyed, and I'll catch you all around in the next one. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.